I'm just interested in this whole new influx of so-called political films that is sort of flooding the mainstream Bollywood cinema. How are you responding to that? Is that a kind of taking over of space, or
I won't say I don't see them as kind of a political films. See there's a wave of patriotic films or wave of nationalistic films where the whole idea of nationalism has been misconstrued, which is being forced upon people. So the whole idea that to be nationalistic you have to be Hindu first is very convoluted. And because of that kind of cinema, anything is finding so much audience. Because let's get down to the truth. In the sense, I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. So, you know what happens is, when the social media came into our lives, it's like everybody found a voice. And then with everybody found a voice, it took a lot of people by surprise because everybody started speaking up for themselves and speaking up against the authority. And then what happens is the authority also, the people in charge who were affected by it, they learned how to control it. Then they slowly found a way to manipulate it. And, you know, misconstru- misconstruing something is not very far away from, also doesn't fall very far away from a reality. The reality is that the privilege has passed a majority of people by. Like, I'm privileged to have education. I'm privileged to have a lot of things. But there's so many others. In my own family probably didn't have that privilege. So if you really look at it, 80 to 90% of this country, privilege passed them by. And they started using the social media to tell those people that privilege has passed you by and you are the majority. So the resentment that was with them, it found voice. The resentment came from a real place. Everybody had resentment. Everybody had prejudice. We had learned to live with our prejudices. We had learned to live with all those things. But somehow what started to happen was the prejudice got empowered. The resentment got empowered. And we were made to feel that somebody out there has taken what belonged to me. And with that idea being propagated through social media, the world has now started leaning one way. Because somehow it benefits the very few people who control all the money in the world. That kind of an atmosphere, because we are too caught up in our identity politics, our caste politics, our religion politics, and it benefits, and we somehow seem like these people are for us. And that is what is happening across. And in that, you can't really fight it. Sometimes I feel like they also as much victims of it as we are. That's the scary part. So how do you go out and attack who? What's the face of the enemy? So, and they don't feel alone and they don't feel outcast, they don't feel anything when they watch a movie like that because it gives them a purpose. You're giving people who probably had no purpose by putting a flag saying that, okay, I belong somewhere. It's giving them a sense of belonging, it's giving them something, and that is what is being misused. That is what is being used in a very dirty way to control, to have control, to exert control. And that's where we are. So in the sense, the solution is not fighting each other. Solution has to be much more, has to come from somewhere which has to be much more informed, much more empathetic. And that's where I feel in Bollywood we are struggling because Hindi is the language that they think, even though Hindi cinema does not make as much money as Telugu cinema, but still they think Hindi is the language that reaches out the most. That also gets translated and get picked up by media across. So the focus is on that. The focus is on Bollywood and the focus is on cricket. The two soft powers that they think it is. And that's where the focus is, and that's why there is a lot of struggle. And the struggle is, the fear is much more in them. It's not that we are afraid. The problem is they are much more afraid what he might end up saying and how it might reach out to people. So, as a precaution, the blockages put before you even start to think or make a film. So slowly, what started happening is if I've made one film and I've gone through so much to try and put it together the way I wanted to, and I've compromised, second time I start becoming clever. It's like everybody says, why can't you make a film like Black Friday anymore? I said, I was innocent and naive when I made Black Friday. I became clever after trying to get the film out. And when you become clever, then you don't honestly put everything out there. I become smarter. So I know how to bypass the blockages, and in that I'm losing my truth. So that is where, as a filmmaker, I'm struggling. And that is where, that's why I love first-time filmmakers. That's when they are the purest. They're the purest. They might falter here or there, but they're speaking the truth as best as they can. Because I think as a filmmaker, now I don't think I can ever go back there. I still now can find things to do and use my voice for other first-time filmmakers, which is what I try to do. But yes, it's a big struggle. I wish I knew Malayalam or Tamil and I could make films there.